Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. I'm Mackenzie. How you doing? What's up? I'm very excited to film today's video. I've wanted to go into some in-depth detail about this since the day it happened, like since the second it happened. And I'm finally doing it, and I'm so flippin' excited. And if you're coming from my Twitter, you already know what I'm talking about. If not, then no, this title is not clickbait. My friends and I successfully snuck into a Niall Horan meet and greet, and we made fake wristbands. I'll put a picture right here. Hopefully it works. I don't really know how to do it. But the picture that it led to, that beautiful fake wristband, led to this nice photo that I will love for the rest of my life. This happened on December 6th, 2017. So it's been a hot minute since it actually went down. But I don't know. I remember it like it was yesterday. It was one of the greatest days of my life. I'll never forget it. And yeah, so I'm just gonna explain how we did it and how it went down. It was the Philadelphia Jingle Ball 2017. Now, I'm just gonna throw this disclaimer out because when we first talked about it on Twitter, we got some heat back for sneaking in and taking opportunities away from other people and all that stuff. I would just like to say that the meet and greet we snuck into was completely free. Everybody either won their way in or had connections with the radio station or something. Nobody paid to go, so we weren't taking anybody's time. It's not like they all paid and we didn't, and we were taking, like, you know what I'm saying? I just wanted to throw that out there, that we didn't sneak into a paid one and take people's time if they paid for it. You know what I mean? Okay. Now that that's out there. It was the Jingle Ball meet and greet, and if you ever want to try to sneak into any celebrity's meet and greet, I would suggest doing it at one of those kinds of shows, like a Summer Jam or a Jingle Ball, that kind of thing, where they have a bunch of meet and greets for a bunch of different artists happening kind of around the same time, because they can only monitor the lines for so long, that specific artist's line for so long, before having to move to setting up the next artist meet and greet. I took a bus down to Philadelphia, and pretty much the whole bus ride I was texting my friend Tiff, and we were kind of still on the fence about whether or not we wanted to sneak in, or wanted to at least try. We go to Chipotle, and it's not just me and Tiff. We have another person with us, and we're sitting at Chipotle. And my friend Jenny from Twitter, I've been friends with Jenny since like 2012. She's a Liam girl. If you're from the One Direction fandom, you know what's up. She's a Liam girl. She's always been a Liam girl, and she had never met any of them before. And she started tweeting, freaking out that she had met Liam. And I was like, no flippin' way. She did not win meet and greet, because she would not have, I would have heard about it already. She would have said something. She would have tweeted something if she won. Like, it would have been a big deal before it actually happened if she had won and knew that she was meeting him today. So I texted her, and I was like, you met Liam? Like, how? When? Where? How? Like, so happy for you, so proud of you, like, can't believe it happened, like, freaking out for her, love her, she deserves it. I was like, you didn't tell me that you won, and that's when she was like, I didn't win, I snuck in. So, Jenny's actually the one in my Niall picture with me. This is Jenny. So, I was like, T. It was her and 4 friends. So 5 of them successfully snuck into Liam's meet and greet. Niall's was after Liam's. So when she's texting me this and she's sending me pictures of all of her fake wristbands that she made, I'm looking at Tiff like, we know somebody else just successfully did it. We know it's possible. That's enough to try. And our other friend, Janae, she had actually won passes to meet Niall. So Jenny's telling us she just successfully snuck in with a fake wristband. And Janae is sending us pictures of what her literal, actual Niall wristband looked like. So I was like, we have to try. We know what the wristband looks like. We know fake ones work. We're trying. We're doing something. We have to. So we threw away our Chipotle that we just bought. We literally took like 3 bites of it, chucked it, and started sprinting to the nearest Staples. So, like, running. It was only a few blocks, but Janae had said the Niall meet and greet started lining up at like 7:40-ish or something, and it was already like 7:15, and we were still a ways away from the venue. So we're like running these couple blocks to Staples. We jump on that little like computer thing in Staples, and we're on the Paint app, I believe. And we like designed 3 wristbands on the Paint app, identical to each other. We googled the Philly Jingle Ball logo, pasted that onto one of the sides of the wristband. Janae was sending us pictures of her wristband, so we knew kind of the font that they had Niall's name in. So we tried to match that. Here's the tricky part though, the color, the shade of brown. We finally got them the size that they needed to be, cut the 3 of them out, and put literal Scotch tape, taped a piece of paper onto our wrists. Like, paper. Not, I mean, wristbands are typically paper, but they're, I feel like, heavier duty paper with the sticky thing on it. This was a literal piece of paper that came out of a printer. We cut it out and we taped it to us with Scotch tape. We got our Uber, we Ubered to the venue. Jenny had told us what they did for sneaking into Liam was just make sure that they were the front of the line. If you're in the front of the line and your shade of brown is different, you're the first wristband, they're not going to have anything to compare it to. They're not going to know it's wrong. Which, how freaking smart is she? I was like, dude, that makes so much sense. Like, that is literally so smart. You're the first people in line, so they think your wristband is the right one. So, let me just throw it out there. Jenny and all of her friends snuck into Liam and Niall, and then me and my 2 friends snuck into Niall. 8 people snuck into Niall's meet and greet that day. 8 people. And again, we didn't take any time away from anybody who paid or anything. It was a completely free meet and greet. Nobody paid anything. In order to be the first in line, you had to line up pretty early, like before the line actually was supposed to start. We were there for a while, and I kept thinking that somebody was going to pick up on the fact that none of the 8 of us checked in at the radio check-in table, but we happened to all have wristbands. So, yeah, that was nerve-wracking. The part that I didn't know is that when you first walk into the area that is happening, there really isn't a lot of Q102 workers paying attention. Like, most of them are up at the top checking people in. There's so many artist meet and greets that once they get the line lined up, they don't double check it. Like, they don't come back and make sure nobody else got in line. I mean, we were in line from the beginning and nobody really went up and down the line asking your name and if you were on the list or whatever. But once the line is a thing and it's formed, they kind of forget about you. They have so many other lines and so many other people that they have to check in for literally every artist on the lineup that they don't come back and check once you're in a line. So, when you first walk in, it's just like a security guy, not with Q102, like a venue security guy. And he just kept yelling, I need to see your wristband as you walk in, have your wrist up, I need to see your wristband. So we just literally walked in with our arms up. He didn't look in detail at the wristbands. He just, if you had your arm up with a brown piece of paper on it, you were fine. So we were just on the other side of the curtain. We had made it to the curtain. The curtain! Like, it's happening. It's gonna happen right now. We're about to walk past this curtain and he's right there. It worked, we're in. So we go in, and the first thing he does is open his arms for a hug, and I was like, Jesus, take the wheel! In my brain, I was like, we just did that. Like, I'm currently talking to Niall when I'm not supposed to be. Like, my 15-year-old self dreamed of that moment. My 15-year-old self would have never believed that that ever in my entire life would happen. You know how many times I tried to sneak into One Direction meet and greet? It was, like, insane. Typically, at free meet and greets, when you leave, they'll take your wristbands so you can't get back in line and try and pretend that you didn't meet them yet. So, there was 2 or 3 people standing As we walked out, there was one person who held all of our bags and our coats and stuff. As we walked out, they handed us our stuff back, and then 2 people behind them were taking wristbands. So, before they could take it off of us, ours was a literal piece of paper. We just snapped it off, threw it in our pocket, and as we walked out, we were like, we already took it off, and left. Because worst case scenario, if after meeting him they found out that we weren't supposed to be there, they could potentially not post the picture, which in that moment I didn't really care if the picture was posted or not. I got to talk to him, I got to hug him. I was cool whether or not we really got the picture. But obviously I still wanted the picture, so it's like, we can't let them find out now that it's over. We can't let them know. So we just showed them our wrist. We were like, we already took it off. It's in my bag. Can I keep it? And they're like, yeah, fine, whatever. Jenny's 5 friends, her and her 4 friends. So the 5 of them had 1 shade of brown. And they all went before us. Me and Jenny went together with 2 different shades of brown. Jenny had 1 and I had 1. Her 4 friends in front of her had the same one. And then me and Jenny had different ones. And then the 2 people behind us, Tiff and our other friend, had my shade of brown. And then the entire line had the real shade of brown. There was 8 people, 3 different shades of brown in the front of the line. So this is what Janae told us after we left. After we ripped off our wristbands and ran, Janae had been messaging us on Twitter and said that one of the workers made a comment like, where are all these different wristbands coming from? Like, where are these, like, that's not our wristband, where are all of these different ones coming from? And literally after Tiff and the other person we went with left, they went up and down the line checking wristbands to make sure if everyone had the right one. So Jenny's plan of being in the front of the line so they could not compare our wristbands to anybody else's was literally what saved the day. Like, if we didn't think of that, and if we didn't do that, we would have been in the back and they would have went down the line checking, because Jenny still would have been up front. If I had just been like, no, like, I don't want to get caught first, she would have stayed up front with her friends, and if they went down the row, they would have saw ours were not real. So, oh, Jenny, I love you. You saved the day. You made it happen. We got our pictures. They realized our wristbands were fake too late. They didn't know. Obviously, they weren't, like, by the time we left, we made it a fact to not have our wristbands in the picture. So they could not, like, in the process of uploading photos, they couldn't, like, zoom into people's wrists and see who had the different ones on and not post it. At least ours. Me and Jenny, our sleeves are completely covering our wristbands, so they would not be able to tell what our brown looked like. So they had to post it because they didn't know if we were real winners or not. So that is the story on how I snuck into Niall Horan meet and greet. I still cannot believe it happened. It was over a year ago and it still, like, gives me butterflies. But I freaking love him with my entire heart. If you want to try and sneak into your favorite artist's meet and greet, give it a go. I would, like I said earlier, stick to Jingle Balls or Summer Jam concerts or something where they have a lot of meet and greets happening at one time for a lot of different artists, because then it's easier to not really, to kind of go under the radar more. If it's a designated meet and greet for a certain artist or that artist's show, they're gonna have stricter security, obviously, but Jingle Balls and stuff, the security is the radio workers. So I would give it a whirl. Just pray that your favorite artist does a Jingle Ball and give it a whirl. So thank you for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I'm trying to hit 2,000 subscribers. It'd be super duper awesome if you did, and I would appreciate it so very much. Yeah, please subscribe. See you next time.